Harper Audio presents The Mendacity of Hope, Barack Obama and the Betrayal of American Liberalism by Roger Hodge, read by James Lurie. Copyright 2010 by Roger Hodge. Production copyright 2010 by HarperCollins Publishers. As it is the business of the contemplative statesman to trace the history of parties in a free country, so it is the duty of the citizen at all times to understand the actual state of them. James Madison, A Candid State of Parties. Pause, reader, and awfully recollect that the government is in the hands of speculators. John Taylor of Caroline, An Inquiry. The picture of the prettiest girl that ever lived will, in the long run, prove powerless to maintain the sales of a bad cigarette. There is no equally effective safeguard in the case of political decisions. Joseph Schumpeter, Capitalism, Socialism, and Democracy. Chapter 1. The Idea of Influence. Barack Obama came to us with such great promise. He pledged to end the war in Iraq, end torture, close Guantanamo, restore the Constitution, heal our wounds, wash our feet. None of these things has come to pass. As president, with few exceptions, Obama has merely changed the wallpaper and rearranged the furniture in the White House. His financial policies are in essence those set in motion by George W. Bush, and when it comes to the eternal global war on terror, he has stealthily embraced the unconstitutional war powers claimed by his predecessor, or left the door open for their quiet adoption at some later date. The early executive orders that temporarily warmed the hearts of civil liberties lawyers everywhere were soon eclipsed by slippery and insidious policies that, by virtue of superficial changes in tone and presentation, have largely avoided damaging publicity. Obama's director of the Central Intelligence Agency declared that the kidnapping and rendition of foreigners will continue, and the Department of Justice persists in using the Bush administration's expansive doctrine of state secrets against those wrongfully detained and tortured by our security forces and allies. Obama has adopted military commissions, once considered an unpardonable offense against our best traditions, to prosecute terrorism cases in which legitimate convictions cannot be obtained. When even such mock trials provide too much justice, he will make do with indefinite detention. If, by some slim chance, a defendant were to be found not guilty, we have been assured that the president's post-acquittal detention powers would then come into play. The principle of habeas corpus, sacred to candidate Obama as the essence of who we are, no longer seems so essential to a president who maintains secret prisons hidden from due process, judicial and congressional oversight, and the Red Cross. Waterboarding has been banned, but other forms of torture, such as sleep deprivation, prolonged isolation, and force feeding continue, as do the practices which once seemed so terribly important to opponents of the Bush regime, of presidential signing statements and warrantless surveillance. The rule of law has not been restored, it has been perverted. What had been outlawed but committed, the law now simply permits. Obama's lawyers, benefiting from Bush-era litigation and recent craven legislation, can claim conformity with law, but the disgraceful policies continue largely unchanged. Better, more sophisticated legal arguments obtain for acts that should give any decent human being nightmares. Our torturers and war criminals and illegal spies and usurpers remain at liberty unpunished. The wars of choice continue and threaten to spread, while some 100,000 soldiers and at least that many private contractors attempt, as Obama so delicately put it, to finish the job in Afghanistan's graveyard of empires, and our flying robots bomb villagers in the mountains of Waziristan. This, we are told, is progress. Admirers of the president embrace actions they once denounced as criminal, or rationalize and evade such issues.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?